Ladies and gents, what is going on? Tony Berardo here. Thanks for tuning in to another podcast episode of the Berardo Podcast. This week's episode, I sit down with fellow Monster Energy coworker, videographer, photographer, and overall just good human being. Jason and I, we work for the same company, but we share interest in a lot of different things, which we talk about on the podcast, including eating right, just trying to overall be healthy. And we even have a pretty optimistic goal of putting out a documentary, which we're slowly working on, and it's really coming together, and I'm really excited about it. Just overall, great dude. Please help me welcome Mr. Jason Manchester.
It's just funny. It's funny, the way you tell the story and everything.
Funny how?
Come here, though. Yeah, he's crazy, see? Who are you?
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
Are you ready?
Okay, dude,
Here,
you made it.
I did. Finally. It only took, I don't know what, a year?
Oh my
or longer.
God. Yeah, it's been about a year.
It's been a long time.
Actually, because last April we talked about it, and you came down for one of the events we had
Yep.
down in Florida, Sports Fest, and that's coming up here again in April.
Yeah.
And we were like, we hit it off right away, and I think the big thing that helped is we were all both on the same page, and of course your wife too, with eating right. That's when I was like a year into being a vegan, and I think your wife has been vegan for.
She's been, I want to say 4 or 5 years now.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, so she was actually vegan sometime prior to that. I don't know. I don't want to misspeak on that, but it was like, I want to say 4 or 5 years before that, maybe 6 or 7. And then she, I don't know, for whatever reason, she just went back to eating, just normal. You just call it normal. So fish. She ate a lot of fish. Didn't eat a lot of meat, but like fish and some chicken. But that was actually it was longer than that. It was probably about 12 or 13 years ago, because it was when she met me. I was working out a lot. I was eating as clean as I could.
Right.
So it was chicken and fish. That was it, and eggs, and the basic stuff.
You're always taught when you work out, you
Yeah.
got to have fish and chicken
Right.
and stuff like that. Yeah.
So I was into eating as healthy as possible, and then I met her, and she was kind of on that same line where she would just eat a lot of fish. So we ate a lot of salmon and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it was probably, I guess, about 3 years into our marriage, she started having some, health issues. Not bad health issues, just with female stuff.
Sure.
And she did a lot of research, and she was already eating healthy. We were always eating good as we could.
Yeah, of course.
But then she decided to go vegan.
Wow.
And she went in. She dove straight into the deep end. She didn't dip her toe into the water. It was like she cut off everything. It was
cold turkey.
I'm going vegan. I don't want anything that has to do with an animal, period.
Really?
And
so no eggs, no
nothing.
Period.
Cold
turkey.
She went straight, and it was good.
And was it primarily because of health reasons? Or was it just she did some research?
It was for some health reasons. It was, like I said, it was nothing major. It was more female stuff,
Sure.
And she just wanted to see, every female is different. When it comes to, that time of the month and things like that.
Yeah.
But, hers would, I guess, fluctuate more than, I guess, she cared for.
Right.
So she did research on that and found out that it could have a lot to do with your diet.
What you're eating.
What your intake is.
Well, yeah, because that affects, depending on what you're eating, it affects your hormones. And,
right.
For guys, it affects the same thing.
I applaud her for it, because I don't call myself a vegan. I dabble in it. So at home, I'll eat that way because that's how she cooks. And it doesn't bother me. I like it. And then when I go out,
you do what
I
you
may
can.
have something every now and then that's a little different. Now, I don't eat meat. I stick away. I stick, far from red meat. I try to as much as possible.
Sure.
I will eat a little bit of chicken, some fish, but if I can go out and eat at least vegetarian, I'm happy.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm trying to get to the point where I am moving more towards the vegan style.
Yeah.
So it doesn't bother me. I do find out that people know that she is that way, and they ask me questions about it, how I like it and stuff. Obviously, I mean, I don't have anything negative to say about it.
Yeah.
I've watched, I don't know how many documentaries
There's
I've
a
watched
lot
on diets and stuff like that. So,
Well, it is kind of strange too, because it only takes, I don't know whether it's a documentary or book or some research or something, and every single person has thought about doing it. But the problem is, I mean, food tastes good. It does, especially chicken, fish, all that. But when you understand that the food that we eat now is a lot different than what it was 10, 15 years ago, and there could be some changes to your body because of that type of food and the process that the food goes into now, that's when it kind of opens up your eyes. And especially when you have someone like your wife who knows how to cook vegan.
Mm-hmm.
And once you try it, you're like, what the hell am I eating meat for? Like, this is just as good.
well, it's not as bad as people think it. They think,
Right.
you see these memes and these pictures on the internet about people going vegan or vegetarian, and the first thing they think is it's lettuce. That's all you eat.
Right.
They don't understand that you can have a vegan pizza or vegan spaghetti, or, I mean, you can have sausage that tastes almost like sausage,
Exactly.
except it's 100% vegan.
I mean, hell, even just like you just had pasta, so it made me think. We had zucchini noodles the other day.
Mm-hmm.
It's
We
fantastic.
have stuff all the time. The first time
Yeah.
I ate tofu was about 3 or 4 years ago.
Oh,
I didn't even know
tofu's
I was
great.
eating it.
Yeah.
She made soup and I was like, what kind of meat is this? She goes, it's tofu.
Yeah.
I've loved it ever since. I mean, not everybody's going to love it. And
Sure.
And
And you don't have to love
no,
it.
you don't. And the same
Yeah.
with her is we don't push it on anybody. It's just,
Right.
it's like if you talk about it, it's just educating people that it's not
Exactly.
lettuce and that's all you eat or grass. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, people make fun of it, but in 20 years, that same person is going to go, well, I don't know why I had a heart attack,
Right.
or I don't know why I have, problems with my blood flow in my body or
Mm-hmm.
whatever it may be, and then the doctor says, you got to cut out red meat,
Yeah.
So I mean,
Well, it's funny when guys come in and they have high cholesterol or they have heart problems or something like that. They always ask, "What's your diet like?" And more
I eat
often
20
than not,
eggs. I eat 20
Right.
eggs a week.
and it's because your cholesterol is so high, or maybe you're doing a lot of salt, and a lot of sodium, in your seasoning. So then the first thing they tell you is cut out red meat.
Yeah.
So if that's the doctor's first thought is to cut out red meat to make you feel better, why are we eating it every single day? Like that's, again, I know it tastes good. I get it.
We're grown. We grow up with it, so it's
Right.
ingrained into us that we have to eat. It's meat and potatoes. I grew
Yeah.
up on meat and potatoes and biscuits and
Oh yeah, well you're from the
and
South.
gravy. Yeah, and I mean, everything bad that you could eat, we grew up on. Bacon, I would cook a pack of bacon and eat it, half
So
of
good.
it before I even got to the table.
So good.
I mean, and it's even when I talk to people about it, it's not that I'm not trying to tell somebody this is, if you want to survive, this is how you got to eat, because there's
Right.
people that eat like that and they live till they're 90.
Yeah.
My grandmother did it. Of course, cooking was different back
Yeah.
then. I think we've talked about it before is, the way they raised animals on the farm are
Back then.
completely different because it was organic. It
Right,
was
exactly.
non-GMO. They did not, feed them all kinds of stuff with, and pump them full of steroids.
Mhm.
I mean, it was clean food when you ate
Well,
it.
and back then, I mean, 2 grandmas ago, they used to raise their cattle. They used to slaughter
Yeah.
them in the farm, the barn, and they used to cook them for 2 months, and they used to eat the whole family, and family would
Yeah.
come over from different farms, and that's what it was 200 years ago. But
But
now
you
it's-
look at the size of the animals back then as opposed to now. I mean, just if you take chickens for instance, I mean, you look at how big they are.
Mhm.
I mean, it's not like they all of a sudden, well, it's just it's a different decade. So now chickens are just more healthy.
Yeah.
They got that way for a reason,
Mhm.
and they needed to be that way for a reason. And the reason is because you have farmers that needed to produce a better product.
Wait, so you're telling me it's not because chicken started working out,
It could be.
and then all of a sudden they got all buff and jacked?
You never know. I mean, they get on steroids, and
That's what happened.
you know,
Yeah.
it's hard to get off of it. So
That's right.
no, I mean, look, I'm not a farmer. I don't, I mean, my family, my mom's side of the family grew up on farms. They had animals. They did all that stuff. But obviously, I don't know everything about it. But I can tell you that growing up, I used to go out into the farms and do the stuff for them, and pick everything I could, peas, all that stuff. I mean, it's not done the same way nowadays that it used to be. They have to produce more, and they have to produce it better, faster. So if there's a higher demand for that stuff,
Right.
the only way you can produce stuff like that, you can't just go out and add some water and some seeds and expect to feed millions and millions and millions of people that are expecting all that food that quick.
Exactly.
So as it starts to go down, you have to produce faster. If you don't produce faster, you're going to be left behind, because the other guy, what is he doing? I'm going to add this to it.
Yeah.
I'm going to make it grow faster. Now I'm producing a ton more. They're going to come to me because now I can get it to them faster. That's why the old, non-GMO.
Yep.
I mean, we look at every label. Almost everything we eat in our house is non-GMO. Almost everything.
And it's because, again, 200 years ago, the population was probably 3,000 times less than what it is now. I mean, that's obviously a very wrong statistic, but the amount of people that exist today are a lot different than what it was, 200, 300, 400 years ago.
Right.
So we have to mass produce that food. And even if, everyone stopped eating red meat tomorrow, we're still going to have to produce this stuff because the demand is so high no matter what,
Right.
Worldwide. And I think that's what we have to kind of start understanding is the more and more people, because obviously we've continued to grow in population. The world is up to 7 billion
That's a lot.
people now. So it's not getting less. And,
No.
and
By the day. I mean,
yeah, and I forget the statistic, but however many people die per day, there's like twice as many that are born. You know what I mean? So it's gonna happen to where we're gonna get to a point where something's gonna happen to where we just can't even sustain this agriculture anymore, and we can't grow corn, beans, and peas, and raise cattle. We can't do that without endangering some serious. I mean, look what they're doing at the Amazon. At the Amazon now, they're deforesting, or they're destroying all the forest in the Amazon just to have coffee and agriculture. And it's like, do we really need that shit that much that you're going to destroy, the most popular, most beautiful rainforest in the world?
Look, I mean, they grow stuff in a lab.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
how do they, I know people don't like change.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, people grow up on, and it took me a while. Look, I was the one 25 years ago saying, I can never do without meat.
Right.
Who the hell would go without meat? I mean, why would you do that? That's stupid. You got to have it.
Especially when you've had bacon.
Right. Well, I grew up playing sports, so it was like, okay, you pack on, the calories, the protein, you got to have it. And the only way you get protein is through meat.
Mm-hmm.
See, I have had arguments with people that they believe you have to have meat in chicken. You got to
Have to.
in order to have protein. And it's not a battle. It's a conversation that nobody's right or nobody's wrong, because everybody's body is different.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a diet, it's a way of life. But you don't have to eat that way in order to live forever.
Exactly. Yeah.
But to me, it seems like it's a healthier lifestyle and you feel better. I know that I do. I know I used to eat a lot of steak and I always felt sluggish.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you just, after a while, you start eating that way. It seems like your body gets cleansed out
Sure.
of all that stuff that you don't need. And when things are genetically modified,
Mm-hmm.
and it is, people block that out, I think, but just because they love that taste and they want to, that's what they want. And that's good, fine, do that. That doesn't make you a bad person.
Right.
But if you do it for like 30 days, I don't think it takes a long time to start to feel the change. But if you do it for 30 or 60 days, 45 days, and you go in and you eat as clean as possible, and you cut out red meat. To me, red meat always made me feel super sluggish.
Yeah.
It just did. I felt like crap after I ate
Well, it's
it.
the same thing like,
It was
you know,
good going down. It was just
of
sucked
course.
afterwards.
Yeah. Well, it's the same thing as, you know, with carbs, right? Like you have a lot of bread, or, you know, you ever go to an Italian restaurant and, you know, you dip the bread with the marinara and the olive oil, and yeah, it tastes great. But after a couple
Loaves.
you're like,
I know.
okay, so I get it. So
Look, I grew up on bread. Bread was like, that's all I ate.
that's it. Yeah.
I would eat 20 biscuits
Yeah.
before I ate anything.
That's right.
You know? So
And I mean, I'm Italian. My whole family, when they would load up the carbs, you always felt like you could take a nap after a meal.
yeah,
That is not a good feeling to have. That's not.
it's not.
Food is supposed to be the fuel
Yep.
that gets you like, we have to get back. And I love the paleo diet, and not necessarily what it means or the fad that's created, but just the idea of going off of our ancestors, which is, you know, vegetables, meat, you know, eat what you kill, that type of mentality. I think we have to
Right.
get back to, because back in the day we used to have to eat to survive.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't eat for pleasure. You know, we didn't sit down and eat, you know, 5-course meals. You didn't have the time. You were getting chased by, you know, a saber-toothed tiger. Like you didn't have time to,
Or something, yeah.
right. So you didn't have time to do all that shit. You didn't care about food to have a 45, you know, to 60-minute meal.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, we have to kind of understand that food is just food. It's not, you don't need it to survive. And if you think you do, you should spend time in the desert, because I forget the statistic. I wish I had, this is where I need like my own production manager. Where I can look this up. But I think it's something like 3 days you can go without food, but you can only go a day without water.
Yeah.
Or something like
Something
that.
like that, yeah.
So that just goes to show you that water is more important than food. So you don't need to be eating. Everyone that is saying to themselves, "Oh, I have to eat. I'm so hungry." No, you're not.
Well, you could be hungry, and then I do this. I mean, I try to eat or do something, protein shake, something in the morning time as soon as I wake up. But I mean, if you're hungry, you can drink water, and you feel okay for a little while. Now it's not going to sustain you for any amount, you know, for like a day or two. But you can drink water, and you immediately feel like you're filled up. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know how. I don't think it's a conversation nobody's going to win. I don't know. You know, I think if you turn one person here and there onto a healthier diet, it doesn't have to be straight vegan, but I think it's
Totally, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how you get to people, you know, to do that. I mean, you could talk to them about it. It's actually, you know, I think putting things out there, you know, legitimate stats that it will tell you,
Yeah.
this is like really bad for you. I mean, it's
Totally, yeah.
you
Well,
know.
the conversation also has to be, you know, kind of like you would sit down with someone that's obese and you would say, you need to work out. They're going to tell you, I don't need to work out. I feel fine. That's what they always say. Nah, I feel fine.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I look good. I don't care what I look like. I don't need to be fit. It's not about being fit. It's about
Right.
being healthy.
It's not about being ripped and all that. And
Right.
It's just
So
you know,
if you take that same analogy and apply it to eating, you don't have to be vegan. You don't have to be vegan, just like you don't have to work out. But you have to be active. So if you're obese, go for a walk. You don't have to go to the gym, but go for a walk.
Yeah.
If you eat nothing but red meat all the time, cut out red meat 50% of your meals.
cut out the donuts, cut out the sugar. Sugar
Right.
is not. I mean, doctors will tell you sugar is not good for you.
Not okay. Yeah.
I mean, sugar is. I mean, they're not. I mean, anything that tastes like super good,
Yeah.
more than likely is bad for you.
It's
It's just the
pretty
way
bad
it
for it,
is.
yeah.
I mean, look, and I'm the worst when it comes to desserts because I
Yeah.
can kill some ice cream,
Oof.
and like my wife gets on to me all the time because I can crush a gallon of ice cream in no time.
Well, and have you tried those like coconut milk vegan ice creams, like Halo
we've
and
tried all that. Yep.
and even that's dangerous.
But see, that's the thing that goes back to what I was saying about we'll buy sausage. It's vegan sausage. And,
Oh, yeah,
and
sure.
it's phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
If you cook it right, it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And you go to the ice cream. You go. I mean, any of these products that you go that are vegan, if people just give it a shot and realize that it doesn't taste like paper, it doesn't taste like
Right.
cardboard. It's not lettuce. You know, you have more options. I mean, look now compared to 5 years ago, how many restaurants now either offer a vegan menu or just vegan options on their menu?
It's crazy. Yeah.
It's almost everywhere.
Yeah. And
Either
it-
vegan or vegetarian.
and that tells you it's not a trend.
It's not. It's because people are moving that way, and that's what they want. I mean, you want to be able to have you're tapping into a whole different community. I mean, you want them to come to your restaurant, so you have to offer that type of stuff.
Yeah, and also, people always think it is a fad or it's a trend or whatever, but really it's just because humans were just smarter. Like we've done the research, we understand what's good for you and what's bad for you, and a restaurant's not going to say red meat's bad for you because they serve red meat.
Right.
But they also want to have something else in the option for people that, I don't want to say smarter, but people that are a little bit more conscious about what they're eating. There has to be options because I think everyone is doing the research, they're looking up what's in their food, and eventually it's going to get to a point to where, look at where we're at now with restaurants, like you said, with vegan stuff, but now they have the calories listed, the carbs that are in it. So restaurants and all these places and people understand that we're getting smart and we have to know what's in our food. We want to know what's in our food. And eventually it's going to get to the point to where if it's not animal to plate, you might be out of business. I think that's what's going to get to where we're really going to get a little crazy with it.
I think, there's obviously more people trying to be vegan and moving towards that. I just think as long as we continue to try, at least, I know this is cliche and stuff, but if you open your mind and you just give it a shot.
Give it a shot. Yeah.
It's not, you're not going to die from eating something that's not, red meat or chicken or something like that. I've done it. I went strictly vegan for 30 days. That's been a few years, but maybe a couple years, but I went and I did it for my wife because, she wanted me to. So I did. I said, I'll do it for 30 days.
And how'd you feel?
I felt great. Like I said, I eat like that, pretty often. Yeah. When I'm at home, but it's not bad. I also find myself eating less. So because I always try to do, like when I start to work out a lot and I've gotten back on that trend again, I always try to do my portions correctly because if you put all this food in front of me, I'm going to eat all of it. Totally. So we cook for the plate and that's it. So that there's nothing left. I like that. So that once you eat, you're done. And if you eat that and you actually sit there for like 15 minutes plus, it gives your food time to digest. Yeah. You'll be full. Yeah. Because if you continue to eat, your body hasn't digested that food, so you continue to eat because you don't know you're full. Exactly. And as you continue to do that, you just go, I'm still hungry, so I'm going to eat those extra 10 biscuits or I'm going to eat those other 2 pieces of sausage and I'm going to eat all this rice because your body hasn't had time to digest what you ate previously. So it's all signals. It is. So if you take that plate and you make a decent portion, I know people go, no, I'll be starving after that. You won't be starving if you train your body to eat like that. So when you eat that plate and you sit there, you eat it slow. You don't have to take your time. Yeah. And then you give it about 15-20 minutes and you'll realize that you're really not that hungry. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, one thing I've been doing a lot lately, especially, with my condition, I kind of take it easy with the food I eat, but one thing I do is I'll eat and then, let's say it's like a quinoa bowl or something and I put, mushrooms and zucchini and I'll put some veggies in there or whatever. Sprinkle a little, follow your heart cheese, a little vegan cheese on there. And I'll do that and I'll have like 2 scoops and I'll sit back. And whether we, me and the wife talk or we're watching a movie, but I sit back away from my plate. Because I used to get in the habit of just like... Over it. Just, you know what I mean? And you don't stop. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You're over it. You just keep eating. Yeah. So you might have some rice and whatever else you put on there. You might eat that. But then you see more that's... you put your 3 pans on the table, and then you're gonna continue to dip because it's like, I'm still hungry. But if you only make that plate, and we try to keep everything on the oven or on the stove. If you do cook a little bit more, we keep it on the stove. That way you got to get up and walk and go get it. Yep. So if you eat it slow and you sit there and actually have conversation, which a lot of people don't do anymore, right? You find out that you get full faster. Oh yeah. To me, and I don't think it's just me. I think that goes with the human body in general. Yeah, totally. Yeah. I'm not I don't know everything about the human body, but I can tell you, I think that I find more people that do that. They even when I used to train some when I was in Charlotte, and I used to get people to do that. I wouldn't put them on a diet, but I would just tell them portion controls. I'm not going to tell you what to eat. It's huge. Yeah, but pay attention to how much you eat. Absolutely. So yeah, there's a great thing. Hold on, actually. But there's this. I think I put it in here. This is from Natalie and Jonathan.
Did I put it in here? Here it is. So this I thought was really radical to where, and I'll zoom in too. I'll kind of put this in post, but it says your protein should be your just your palm, right? So like if you are doing steak or chicken, you should put it in your palm, not your fingers.
Right.
So that would be like a half a chicken breast is what you would put in. And then when it comes to your fats, so like your almonds or if you do an avocado or something like that, you only want to do a thumb.
Right.
So you don't want to do a whole avocado because
You don't. Yeah. You don't want to eat all.
out.
Yeah. You're not
Right.
supposed to eat that
and
much
then
anyway.
and then for your carbs, you palm it, but you cup.
Right.
So if you're doing like rice, you do 1 scoop. That's probably like 1 scoop of rice.
Right.
See, me, I used to do, and I talked a lot about this on my last podcast, but me, I used to do like just spoons because you don't.
Rice is good. I mean,
Yeah, man.
you don't think that rice is that bad, but you eat plenty of it. Yeah. I mean, you're looking at it's a lot.
Well, and people don't understand. It's not a matter of what, like, you can get fat by only eating veggies. And the reason is because it's a matter of what your stomach could hold. So, like everyone's stomach, let's just say hypothetically, your stomach starts that size. Let's just say, like when you're 18. That's probably totally inaccurate. But when you start to eat, your stomach expands, it gets bigger and bigger, and then it takes you more food to
fill it
get
up.
filled. Yeah, to get full. So then eventually now you're eating more and more food and your stomach gets bigger and bigger, and then it's storing all those nutrients in that food, and that's why you keep eating because you're not full, because you're not. Your stomach's not full. Your brain is not getting the signals from your stomach saying, all right, bro, we're tapped out. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, and everybody's
So-
got a six pack. You just got to find it. It's in there. You just got to get the fat away from it.
That's
but
right.
you're not going to do it by eating 12 donuts. I'm
That's
gonna tell
right.
you, I am a donut guy too. So,
Well, what's your favorite donut if you could pick one?
man,
You got
anything
one?
from Krispy Kreme.
I used to be like a, just a regular glaze guy. I'll have like the blueberry glaze or something like that. But my biggest thing, if you put it in front of me, and this is just donut wise, is just that jelly filled powdered donut is like
See, I got to have the cream filled, the white
the
cream
eclair.
filled. No, it's just a regular donut. But they used to have the glaze with the white cream filled.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
But
yeah.
now it's got chocolate on it, so you have to eat the chocolate too. So.
Oh my God. So it's chocolate and it's
Yeah,
got the
it's
filling?
probably about 2,000 calories in a
Jesus.
donut, but
Ugh.
I don't do it. I don't eat them anymore.
No,
but,
of course not. My sickness is peanut butter. Anything.
Yeah, I'd always eat when I was working out a lot. I'd always eat.
Yeah.
I'd always eat like a spoonful or two
Mm-hmm.
of peanut butter when I was hungry.
Yeah.
For a snack.
Oh, yeah.
But then I would grab something that is good to do. I'd buy the small packs of carrots.
Oh, yeah, sure. Dip it in there.
The little tiny ones, and I would eat whenever I got hungry. I would go in the fridge, grab that, and I would eat that instead of plundering through the cupboard and finding Oreos and shit like that. So
Yeah.
it just goes back to training your body and the way you think and the way once you start feeling a certain way and you get on a trend, it's hard to get off of it.
Totally, yeah.
If you get off of it, it's easy to stay off of it.
So easy. Yeah, absolutely.
But, I mean, it's just like I said, I just got back into a good workout regimen again. And
Where are you working out? You doing something at home or?
no, I go to a place called the Zoo.
It's called the zoo?
It's called the Zoo.
Is it a zoo in there?
It's getting that way. It's really getting, yeah. I used to have a good time. I would drop my son off at school and then I would go work out because I could get there and nobody would be there hardly.
Nice.
Now it's like I got to find a new time to go because
Yeah.
waiting on machines and
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of
Can't get
I've been
going.
doing a lot of morning lately. I didn't used to, but with this new job now, everything's with California.
Well, I got to do
So,
morning because I got so much stuff going on during the day, and I get so
Yeah.
caught up in doing stuff. I won't work out at night. I
Exactly.
just won't do it. So
Yeah.
it's got to be either super early in the morning or it's got to be right after I drop him off at school. But the thing is I go and I don't want to not go because now I'm back into that way of thinking that I can't miss.
Yeah.
Just like, I come up here, I did a little bit of workout before I came here. And then, I'd like to get up super early tomorrow morning and, get something
Do something.
in.
Yeah.
And,
The hotel's got a nice nice
so,
gym. Right?
I mean, but if you stay in that, you do that. Yeah, I mean, you can go down a rabbit hole talking about all this stuff. You can talk for days, but it's really what you want to do.
Yeah.
I mean, you either want to do it or you don't.
Yeah, just get in the
I
routine.
mean, I don't think there's any right or wrong. I think that people can live to 90 and eat however they want. They can drink as much as they want. They can smoke if they want to. There's people that have done it.
yeah.
The problem is how do you want to feel getting to
In that
90?
90
That's kind of
years,
how I
yeah.
look at it.
Yeah, it's a good way to look
I
at
want
it.
to feel good getting to that. I mean, we both could drop dead tomorrow,
Right.
no matter how healthy you are.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter. But I think that you can prevent, and we've talked about this plenty of times, I think you can prevent or scale back things that are wrong with you now, diabetes and things like that. We won't get into that. I mean, that's a long conversation. But
Yeah,
I think that you can prevent things like that from happening.
totally.
Obviously, doctors will tell you, but another conversation for later.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of stuff that they tell you not to do or to
Yeah.
do in order to get you into the doctor. Because if you're healthy,
So
the
true,
doctor
yeah.
ain't making any money.
That's right. Yeah, it's
You know?
job security.
So
Well, and I
you
think-
have to stay sick at some point.
Yeah, that's right. Well, and I think I mean, every person I like to think has I like to think everything has a shelf life. You know, so like sodas, peanut butter, cans, you know, soup, everything has a life to where it's not good anymore.
Right.
Milk, right? Everything. So the human body to me is the same way. So let's say every single person, you know, could live till they're 80, let's just say. So from day one all the way to 80, like you said, is how you live that life depends on your shelf life. Now, yeah, of course you could get hit by a truck tomorrow,
Yeah, but
God forbid.
That doesn't have to do with your diet, though.
It doesn't have to do
Life.
with how
You
you're
just-
living life.
Yeah.
And some people aren't really, you know, worrying about that. And there's nothing wrong with that either. But you also got to think to yourself, you're not the only one that cares about whether you live or die or not. So
Well,
you have
see,
to kind of look
yeah.
out for not just you and your health, but you have to look
Everybody
out for
else.
your family, your friends, people
And
that care about you.
it feeds everybody. It feeds friends. Sometimes you'll turn a friend or two to being healthy and working out and stuff like that. And there's other friends that all they do is they poke fun at you, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And I think to be honest with you, I think a lot of people, they won't admit it, but I think a lot of people will not go vegan, vegetarian, or try to eat as healthy as possible because they're scared of what other people say to them.
110%.
You know.
Yeah.
And they're I don't know why people do that, because I don't care what anybody thinks about, you know, what I do or how I live my life or the things that I do or the things that I chase or whatever.
Yeah.
It's all up to me and what I want to do. As long as, you know, I have support from my wife, which I do, that's the only thing that matters.
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
know? And I think if people get away from worrying about what Bob says about, oh, you went vegan, you only eat lettuce, who cares?
Exactly.
I mean, I think that's a big reason. But then I just think people just aren't educated. I think they just think that you were born into this world to eat a certain way, and that's how you have to eat. That's what you got to do to survive, and it's not the truth.
No, of course not. And I think that's one thing we both agreed on really, really early. So that really helped us kind of create like this idea of, you know, doing this documentary, which I'm super jacked up about. So I'm glad you can make it out. And we definitely, me especially, I got to get more involved. I think we just both been so busy. It's just like, it's just a lot going on, but something we're both passionate about creating a really a documentary that doesn't necessarily tell you, you know, what's good or what's bad to eat. It just lays out the facts, lays out the way you could eat and be healthy, and the way that being vegan or at least cutting out red meat and cutting out all the artificial bullshit could literally reverse diseases, but also saying that, you know, like you said,
it's been done. I mean, it's actually
done,
been
yeah.
shown and done where people have reversed diabetes. People believe that if you have diabetes, you can't reverse it, and they'll tell you that. Not that's I mean, there's doctors and stuff that'll tell you you can't get rid of diabetes. Once you get it, you're done.
Yeah.
But there's also things that have been, there's people that have actually changed their diet to a vegan or plant-based diet, and have reversed, being diabetic, or they could have been on, 8 different pills that they have to take all day.
Mm-hmm.
And they now, after a certain amount of time, and people don't believe it, but it's facts, and they'll be off of all the pills.
Yeah. Well, and I think that goes with a lot of different diets. If you switch it up, if you're used to, let's say you only eat fast food all day, every day, and you stop eating fast food, but you go to eating your own red meat and maybe you make your own hamburgers, you're going to feel better because you're not eating the artificial stuff. So it's not necessarily being vegan or not being vegan, but you definitely want to start living a healthier life. Yeah. And I think if you've been following me for a while, you know that just me switching, being a vegan, I still had some episodes from Crohn's and things like that, but it has gone down drastically.
Yeah.
And, about 5 years ago is when this first started, and I had scarring in my intestines, and they said it would get worse, and they never gave me a reason or a cure or
Yeah,
a
but
fix.
why do you think that is? I mean, and here's another rabbit hole you can go down.
I love it.
I love this one too, but
That's what's cool about a podcast.
I know it's just this will open up. I mean, this is where people go, conspiracist, and I'm not a conspiracist. I'm not, but for some reason, I believe that there's pills out there for a reason.
Sure.
Now, look, there's some things that you have to take a pill. I get that.
Mm-hmm.
There's medication you have to take to fix something,
Absolutely.
to cure something. Medication it was really put here to cure stuff, right?
Yeah.
And it seems like, I mean, who needs to sell medication? The medical companies.
Yeah.
Multi-billion-dollar, medical companies.
Yeah,
So,
pharmaceutical companies.
yeah. So, what would happen if people actually found out that if you ate this way, I don't have to take this medication. I don't have to and it's stuff they can't afford. People pay for that. Who pays for that stuff?
Yeah, that's right.
If you don't have insurance, well, everybody's supposed to have insurance now, but if you don't, who pays for that?
Mm-hmm.
It's all government fed.
Absolutely.
At some point.
Yeah.
You're going to have government's going to have to feed that for the people that can't afford it.
Absolutely.
Right.
And in fact, the people that don't even have insurance or that do have insurance, let's say,
Medicaid or
Medicaid,
whatever.
those are the people they're targeting. Those are the victims because
Right.
they need it, right?
Yeah.
They're getting quote unquote hooked on it to where when you do go off that medication, you do feel bad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and look, like I said, there's some that you have to take, but
Right.
the idea of taking a medication is to cure yourself,
Right.
not to take medication A, and then you take that for 6 months, and now you go back to the doctor. Now something's happened because if you take this, and everybody has seen this commercial where if you take this, it could cause, and it has lists about 10 things. So now you take this, and now you have some kind of inflammation. So now you got to take
Something for
medication
the
B
inflammation.
to
Yep.
take care of what that, and it just goes right on down the line.
Yeah.
And
And then eventually gets to the point to where those 10 different things that you have are now worse than the original thing you had, and all you had to do was change up your diet, change up your activities, what you do on a daily basis. There definitely are other things because the body has gone through a lot. And 200 years ago, 300 years ago, when we were dealing with a lot of other bullshit, yeah, we were living only to like 35 years old. Sure, but that was because we had a lot of other diseases that were deadly that are now but those are cured.
Look, I just
right?
had my appendix taken out. It wasn't long ago. They didn't even know what the hell people were dying from, and it had to be your appendix because they didn't know that your appendix burst.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
so
they didn't know it.
you would go in there, and this guy would be in, which I can tell you, I was in so much pain.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah.
I had it taken out. It didn't rupture, but it went bad. But it didn't rupture, so they drilled a few holes in me, took it out. But if it ruptures, they have to open you up.
Yeah.
Because they have to completely clean you out.
Yeah.
Because all that does is house a bunch of nasty stuff. Is all it does. So that's all it is. They don't even know what it's for, to be honest with you. They don't even realize why we still have it. They think over the time as the human body evolved, they thought that it would at some point have just went away because we don't use it, right? It does nothing.
Yeah.
So, but the thing is I just had that done and it hurt like hell. And I don't even know where I was going with this, but
well, it's interesting that the body has evolved to have that kind of to store stuff, but really we don't need it though.
Well, you
right?
don't need it, but I don't know. Anyway, I don't know where I was going with that.
That's
But I
crazy.
can tell you that back on the diet thing. Where were we at on the diet thing?
So just talking about where it was and where it is now, and then what people are eating and the medication that they get put on.
I know. I was going to go, because my dad died. He had diabetes for quite a while, and when he got it, he was put on pills, I think, at first, but he was so far gone
For diabetes.
that he should have been on insulin. So, and then he messed up his diet. They did all this. It was just, everything was just wrong. So he ended up losing toes, and they thought they were going to have to take his leg, but they didn't. The doctor saved it. but he lost some toes. But anyway, like 5 years into it, he ended up, maybe not even that long, he ended up having a heart attack. But it was because of that is why, because, you know, he just had.
Your body's dealing with the stress and.
Yeah. So, you know, eventually, I don't know, I don't know how long after that, but it was in 2003. He passed away, but it was from a heart attack. But it was just all that stuff finally took a beating on him. And one thing I can say, now, he did not follow his diet. He was supposed to be on a strict diet, and he didn't do it. He was just like, screw it.
Yeah.
I'm just going to eat. And he did. And that's what happened. He eventually lost his life because of that. Now, he did have other factors in that, the diabetes, but he could have
prevented that.
He could probably be alive today.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Or at least maybe, you know, another 10 years he could have survived. But all he had to do was change his diet.
Yeah.
You know, and I think if I'd have known what I know now, well, you know, obviously that long, this whole thing is new.
Sure. Yeah.
You know,
a lot of it is. Yeah.
I mean, it's like within the last 5 years, really is when it has got hot and heavy.
Well, what's crazy, you say 5 years because that's about accurate, is think about 10 years ago, no one cared what went in our body. So just stay silent and think about that for a second. So 10 years ago, no one cared. 15 years ago, 20, no one gave a shit if there was GMOs or PMO.
There wasn't
or
a non-GMO.
No one gave a shit. No one cared if you were vegan or pescatarian. No one knew what that was because now all this research is coming out. So people, again, and I think the internet has obviously helped out a lot because you can Google something right away and you could figure out what's in it.
That's how I found out that my
appendix
went back. Yeah.
Stop it.
I was. I swear to God.
That's fucking
I swear to
crazy.
God. And I don't believe anything on the internet.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, the day it happened, not to get off subject, but the day is funny because it's not funny, but it is now. But
well, you got it. So yeah.
I was actually sitting in my office. I was on the phone with one of our military guys, and I was on the phone, and I started feeling bad, like my kidneys, though. So I was thinking,
like the back.
And I just talked to somebody a couple of days before that had a kidney stone. Oof. And I was thinking, God, you know, here it goes. I'm going to get a kidney stone. This sucks. You know, I've had one a long time ago. But I got off the phone, and I went in and told my wife, I said, I got to go lay down. I don't feel good. So I was kind of worried at that point anyway. So I went upstairs, and I laid down on our couch upstairs, and I couldn't get comfortable. And that's how it was when I had my kidney stone years ago.
Oh, you've had those, yeah.
Yeah. So I was thinking, here we go again, and I just couldn't get comfortable. So then I thought I had to go to the bathroom, and I was like, you know what? Hold on a second, because the pain moved around close to my belly button.
Okay.
Which that's what they say. If you got pain around either below or to the side of your belly button, it's a good chance it's your appendix. But you could run a fever, you could get nauseous, and then you have that pain.
Yeah.
But excruciating pain. So I was like, you know what? Something popped in my head. I was like, this feels like my appendix. So I Googled. I said, what are the symptoms of your appendix going bad? And
sure as shit,
I had everything except for nauseous until I found that out, and it like within about 5 minutes it got worse. I went downstairs. I couldn't stand up. I told my wife, I said, you got to take me to the doctor. And I don't go to the doctor for anything, which is bad.
Wow.
But I don't go to the hospital. I don't do anything. She was like, what's wrong? I said, I think I'm about to pass out. I said, my stomach is killing me. And about that time, she went upstairs to get dressed, and then I started getting sick.
Really? Was that quick?
That quick. Oof. And then she got me in the car and drove there, and then and everything
boom.
happened, and they took it out. And
yeah, because if you don't
but
get
I feel
there,
better though.
Yeah,
that's the thing is after that. That's why I wonder if it's been leaking for a while.
Could be
because everything that it houses, it's nothing is good. It's all just
gunk.
Yeah, that's what it is. And I think it had leaked for a while. Maybe that's why I was feeling, I just wasn't feeling 100%. But after it was taken out, and obviously after the surgery and all that, I started getting better. I feel better.
I wonder what percentage of people still have their appendix. I think I do. I mean,
it's weird because it usually happens. I think it normally happens at a younger age.
Mm-hmm.
As you get older, I don't think it really affects you as much. I can obviously, but I don't know. I have talked. It's funny. I've talked to several people since that have had theirs taken out. So, But anyway, I mean, it's, that doesn't have to do with diet. It's just, it just
No,
goes bad.
but it is kind of crazy how we can easily look that stuff up, and I think that's why we're able to live a lot longer. So imagine if we really spent our time that we Google on things that matter, like I mean, my grandmother, she passed away from type 2 diabetes, and she lost both her legs.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine, I mean, back then they thought to themselves, okay, we should probably stop eating. We should stop eating pasta and fucking and meatballs and all that stuff.
Why would you want to get to that?
Right.
That's the thing. Is you see people, that happens to people. Why would you not want to change the way you do things so that in 20 years you're not going, well, maybe I shouldn't have ate all that food like I did.
Right.
Maybe I should have ate healthier. Now I'm sitting here. Now I'm going to lose a leg.
Yeah, but also I kind of look at it like back then they just didn't, think about it. You don't know what, like a good example would be, okay, so skydiving. Right? So skydiving, you don't have to do research to know that there's a small chance your chute's not going to open.
Could.
It's possible.
I thought about that when I jumped out of an airplane.
Of course.
Yeah.
But, back then, our grandmothers and our grandfathers, they didn't eat a bowl of pasta and said, this might give me diabetes. There was never a thought because there wasn't research, wasn't. But now I think we have all that. So I think now, to your point, there is no excuse now.
Well,
Like,
they didn't have names for that stuff either back then.
Of course.
They were worried about smallpox and things like that.
Important stuff, yeah. But now it's like, you have to do your own research and you have to understand what you put in your body is huge, whether it's medication, whether it's food, liquids. I mean, even Advil. I mean, look at Advil. It destroys your liver. Everything's passing through.
Aspirin does.
And aspirin.
And when you grew up, I mean, what did you do when you got a headache? You took an aspirin.
Pop an aspirin.
It causes your stomach to bleed and stuff if you take too many of them.
Yeah, man.
And people get hooked on that. You don't think you do, but you start taking aspirin, you think you got to take them all the time. I mean, it does.
That's crazy.
I've always said it. And I do not take. The only time I take medication, 99% of the time, is like when I had my surgery. I had to have.
Well, yeah, they make you,
painkiller.
right? They put you on
But
it.
I don't have an addictive personality. So I can quit anything cold turkey. But if you do stuff like that, if you take that stuff, people get dependent on it.
Oh, yeah.
And they want you to get dependent on it. They'll tell you they don't.
They want you to get hooked, for sure.
How come when you go to Publix or Walmart or whatever and you go to the, I mean, have you seen the medicine that's on those aisles now?
Oh, it's
I mean,
outrageous.
it's like multiple aisles of medicine.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's.
You got extra strength, you got triple strength, you
Now,
got
look, yeah,
all that stuff.
like I said before, I mean, I don't think you can go through your life and
not
take medicine at some point.
Sure.
You got to, right? I do it. I mean, it's like I said, it's not right or wrong. I guess it's how much.
Well, everything in moderation.
Yeah.
It's just like drinking.
I mean,
Drinking's not good for you.
Yeah.
But, I mean, as long as you're, but if you're drinking and not exercising and you're eating like shit, you're gonna die sooner. These are facts, right?
Well, it's like cancer. I mean, everything.
Yeah.
I don't want to get on the cancer thing either, but it's like 10 years ago, what caused cancer doesn't cause cancer anymore.
Right. Yeah.
What didn't cause cancer back then now causes cancer.
Right.
I remember for a while I think coffee could cause cancer or something, or and now it's like, oh no, you got to drink coffee.
Yeah.
Coffee's good for you, which thank God, because I drink a ton of it.
Yeah.
But
and like artificial sweetener like aspartame, when that first came out, that was the one thing that you're gonna get cancer immediately. But then they realized you have to take hundreds of pounds of aspartame for it to even affect you long term. And again, it doesn't mean it's good for you. It just means not everything out there. We continue to get smarter. We continue to learn more, and you always have to be on your shit. I think people just put things in their face and drink things without doing the research. And it's like, listen, man, we got to get away from that. We got to get a little bit smarter, because it's going to get to a point to where you're going to wake up one day and you're not going to like the way you feel, like the way you look, and it's because of what you put in your body. It has nothing to do with any other outside sources. It doesn't have to do with the sun or the earth or the moon. It has to do with what you put in your body.
Yeah, I mean, it's I think that's all it comes down to.
Yeah.
And it's whether you want to or not. And like I said, I'll never push anything like that on somebody.
Yeah, totally.
If they ask questions, I'll answer to the best I can. I'm not a doctor, but I know it affects me, and it affects everybody else differently.
Right.
But you just can't convince me that if you stop eating a lot of that stuff that you won't be healthy.
Right.
you won't feel better.
Yeah.
And like it going back to what you said about the documentary you're talking about. I think that's the biggest purpose of that is not to sway somebody to be
eat one
vegan
way
or
or,
vegetarian. It's really just it's right down the middle to say, here's what we know about this and the findings that we have, with doctors and stuff like that, and that back that, and then here's the other side.
Exactly.
So I mean, there is it's eating this way is not death.
Sure.
I mean, you can't eat that way. So there's positives, and there's obviously positives with this side. So it's like, where's the balance, and it's your choice. Which way do you want to go?
Exactly.
That's all it's about. So,
well, that's a good way to end it, man. That was strong. That was
good,
big.
I guess.
Yeah, that was good. I mean, we're already an hour in, if you can believe that.
No, I can't. Like I said, it's a rabbit hole, man. You can go down for days, all these different holes, and talk about this stuff. It's all different conversations.
And I'm super excited about this documentary, so we definitely need to get on it. I'm motivated about how we're laying it out, and we're working on how we're going to put it together. And I think by this time next year, we should at least have a good answer.
Yeah, hopefully we'll have it done by then.
That's the goal.
So
that's the goal. But no, man, I'm glad you're here.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming. It's going to be a fun weekend.
It's going to be. I'm excited.
Sorry the wife couldn't join. I'm sure she's very happy though. She's with the newborn.
I will FaceTime her.
That's right.
So we will make sure she sees plenty of activities.
All right, cool, man.
Yeah.
All right, well, thanks again. Jason Manchester, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't already, make sure I'm going to leave his social media below, but awesome photographer, videographer. What's your handle for Instagram?
At Jason Manchester. It's really tough.
Very complicated. Yeah. But be sure to follow him, check his workout. We're going to have a good time this weekend. And I just want to give a quick shout out. Thanks again to Superfat. Thank you for all you guys do. If you want to use Superfat, go to their website, www.superfat.com. Use the code Berardo10. You're going to get a discount. You're going to love that stuff. It's good fats. It's healthy fats. And if you're a peanut butter junkie like I am, it's gonna satisfy you. So thanks again for listening to the podcast. Until next time, we will see you later. Peace.